Greetings fellow guitar travellers, it's Rowan J Parker here and welcome to another episode of Just Shred, I Am the Law. Now normally I don't do cover versions or cover directly material from other guitar players because I like to keep the content of these lessons as original as possible. However, for the next two episodes, I'm going to make an exception to that and we are going to cover something by one of the masters of sweep picking, Mr. Frank Gambale. And so to that end, we're going to teach you the arpeggio section at the end of a piece of his called Little Charmer, which involves some very involved sweeping, and you can get an insight into his technique, and if you want to pursue it further, this could maybe be a springboard for doing so. So, yeah, all hail to Frank for these two lessons because he's absolutely magnificent and one of my favourite jazz fusion players, not to mention his frightening and ridiculous chops, which we could only dream about possessing. However, we will make do with what we do have. So let's get straight down to it. Episode 1 of the Arpeggios and Little Charmer. Buckle up, this is going to be a bumpy ride and let's rock! This lick is a 4-bar idea, so we're going to cover the first 2 bars this week and the remaining 2 bars next week, and we'll just do it very slowly, 1 bar at a time, because there is a lot to learn. So let's just think about the first 2 bars. Fundamentally, the first 2 bars outline or cover a D major chord and then B flat, really, so it could be regarded as B flat major 7. That's more or less the arpeggio outline of the first 2 bars. So let's look at how to play bar 1. Bar 1 sounds like this, which, as you can probably hear, is more or less a straight D major arpeggio with the addition of another couple of notes. So let me just go ahead and give you the notes. We have D, F sharp, A, D, F sharp, E, A, D, A, F sharp, D, A, F sharp, D, A, F sharp. Okay, I'll give you the verbal tab now. The low E10, low E14, A12, D12, and then D16. Then we have D14, G14, B15, high E17, high E14, B15, G14, D16, A17, low E17, and then low E14. Okay, now that's a lot, so I suggest you just go over that quite slowly, 1 note at a time. Let's talk about the digitation because it's somewhat unusual. It's finger 1, 4, then 1, 1, 1, then 1, 1, 2, 4, then 1, 2, 1, 3, 4, 4, 1. So there's a bit of position shifting here. Quite complex, so I suggest you take it very slowly and work on the position shifting. Alright, if that wasn't horrific enough, the left hand being pretty awkward, some of the fingerings that Gambale uses are certainly quite unusual and difficult for me. If that wasn't bad enough, we've also got the right hand to contend with because it is his patented combination of alternate picking and sweep picking. The idea being that when we have just 1 note per string, it's a sweep. When we have more than 1 note on a string, it's alternate. So how to play this? We start with upstroke. Up, down, 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 up. So that's for the first half of that D major arpeggio. Right, so up, down, 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 up, and then down, 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 up, 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 down. Okay? Alright, now, one other thing to tell you about bar 1 is that it's not just straight semiquavers. It's not 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... It would be nice if it was that, but it's not. What happens is it starts on the offbeat. It starts on the and of 1 and there's a little triplet. So have a listen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It's got this little dum triada, 3, 4, 1. So I hope that's obvious. It's a little skippy triplet thing, which is extremely tricky to get, to be honest, but that's what it is. Alright, well, that concludes bar 1. Phew, let's look at bar number 2. Okay, here is bar number 2, and bar number 2 sounds like this. It is fundamentally a B flat triad. Alright, so the easiest way to teach you this is to divide it up into 4 different chunks. Here's the first chunk, second chunk, third chunk, fourth chunk, because it's easier to learn it that way. So let's just dive straight in with chunk number 1. So we have this, just straight B flat triad, and the notes are F, F, B flat, D, F. Verbal tab is D15, low E13, A13, D12, D15. Digitation 4, 2, 2, 1, 4, and the picking, quite important, up, down, 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 up. Little sweep there across the low E, A and D. Alright, so that's chunk number 1. Here's chunk number 2. Woody Woodpecker. B flat triad again. Sounds like this. Notes are B flat, D, F and B flat. Verbal tab is A13, D12, G10 and then G15. And let me see, digitation is 3, 2, 1, 4. And the picking this time, down, 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 up. So far we've got this. Which is tricky already. I think you'll agree. And then here is the next chunk, which is a sort of B flat major 9 triad, I guess. And here are the notes, D, F, B flat and C. Verbal tab is D12, G10, B11 and B13. 3 downstrokes, down, 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 1 upstroke. Digitation is 3, 1, 2, 4, which feels quite awkward underneath the hand. Not very pleasant at all. Alright, so that's the third chunk, and then the final chunk is this one. Again, B flat triad, ends upon A, which would be the major 7th of that chord. Notes are D, F, B flat and A. And verbal tab is B15, and then high E13, high E18 and high E17. Digitation 2, 1, 4, 3. Okay, and finally picking. Down, down, up, down. Mini sweep there between the B and high E. Alright, so let's play all of bar 2. Watch very carefully the right hand. I'll just call out the picking one time here because it's tricky. Up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down. Right, that's the way to do it. Very tricky to get it all fluid, but that is what it is. Alright, so that concludes bar 2. Let's just have a listen to the lick one more time, and we can just have a look at how the first 2 bars function in context. Let's rock! Well, that concludes another episode of Judge Shred. Join me next week for the concluding 2 bars of these ridiculous arpeggios in Little Charmer. I have to say, this is probably one of the most difficult, complex and involved things I've ever attempted to teach on a YouTube video. So if you do manage to get it down, hats off to you, because it is a tough lick to get. Well, anyway, apart from the impossibility of Frank Gambale's material, which we kind of all know about anyway, you can find me at www.rowanjparker.com, which is a great website full of lots of free resources for aspiring guitar players. There's lots of lessons, there's backing tracks, there's a shop where you can buy things, there's lots of high quality products available for instant download in the store. You can also subscribe to my website by sticking your email address in the subscribe box. Hit subscribe and you get access to a lot of free and exclusive material not available anywhere else. You can also book direct one-to-one Skype lessons with me via the website. There's a link for that, just follow that and I'll get right back to you with all the details. Otherwise, you can find me on SoundCloud, that's Rowan-Parker. There's tons of backing tracks on SoundCloud, all free, and you can download them all. There's also quite a bit of my music up there as well if you want to have a listen. What else can we tell you? On Facebook, of course, Facebook page Rowan J Parker, you can like if you like, and on Twitter, so if you want to join me, follow me on Twitter, do feel free to do so. Right, that's it. I'll catch you next week for another episode of Judge Shred. Here's the law. Farewell.